Welcome to the 10-Minute Talent Take presented by HR Karl Services. In this series, we spotlight talented job seekers ready to bring their skills, experience, and energy to new opportunities. Each guest shares who they are, what they're looking for, and why they would be a valuable addition to your team, all in just 10 minutes. Let's get started with today's featured guest.
Well, hello and welcome to another 10-Minute Talent Take. Today, we've got Karl on the hot seat, and he is ready to go, so let's dive into it. Karl, first question. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Karl with a K. I like to say that I'm a scientist that likes to stay in industry. I like to be a part of a team to help them accomplish goals and help move the needle forward. I've been working for the last 11 years. I spent 5 years in operations and line worker roles for food service, retail, and a little bit of healthcare. But I've always had a desire to do more. So I was put on special projects. I was always the person they called if our location needed to go through an audit, as well as training all of the new hires. I spent the last 6 years in supply chain, doing it across the United States. And I've done all the stereotypical things someone would do, such as sourcing, buying, planning, scheduling, forecasting, analytics. I was thankful to be in roles that allowed me to do the entire end-to-end supply chain with the way that everything was structured. I've also worked with enterprise-level ERP systems as well as small ones for the last 6 years. And I've had continuous improvement, project management, internal audit responsibilities as well during that time. And for me, I really look at 4 main pillars when I'm trying to evaluate a project or a full-time opportunity, which is, do they meet these 3 values, which are integrity is number 1, quality is important, and your people are your greatest asset. I also look for partnerships over transactional relations. I hate the transactional model. So I build partnerships with all the stakeholders that I have had the responsibility of being a part of. I look at, can I do something successfully? Because ultimately, I'm not the person that am self-driven. I want something to succeed with or without me, even if it means that I don't get to be a part of that journey. And I look for, what does growth and learning look like? Whether that be in that role, that company, working under a particular person. I am kind of the person that would take something that someone would say that I'm overqualified for, if it means that being a part of whatever in that dynamic it is means that there's some growth and learning that I'm most likely not going to get elsewhere. And that's kind of really my approach and a little bit about myself.
Wonderful answer, Karl. Let's take question number 2. What kind of roles are you looking for?
Yeah, so ultimately, I am looking for a role that allows me to use my background and my education to be an asset to an organization, and help move the needle forward. Ideally, I would like to stay in supply chain, purchasing, project management, or strategy related realms. But ultimately, I don't care about titles. I'm not a title driven person. I am more of a person that gets things done. So I want to work for, a role or a team that allows me to adhere to the values that I mentioned previously, allows me to work cross-functionally. And I typically take job descriptions with a grain of salt. 80% of what I've ever done in my career has never been in my initial job description. So I like that environment. I am very entrepreneurial. So like that kind of environment is really good for me. And it's really just coming in and go, okay, in the first 90 days, what do you need me to execute to be successful? And then I ask why, I ask how can I help? And then my job description just kind of morphs from there. It's part of that cross-functional piece. But ultimately, that's what I'm looking for. I care less about title than I do values and all of those different things. So that's ultimately what I'm looking for. And yeah.
Wonderful answer, Karl. You've got yourself down really firmly here. So let's end it with this question. Why should somebody hire you?
Yeah, so ultimately, beyond my education, experience, and accomplishments that I have documented on my resume, I have a proven track record of being successful in operations and supply chain across the United States for various industries. I've had various people tell me I'm like the equivalent of 8 people or more. And I've had people tell me that if there was ever an award for somebody that could get the most amount of things done in the shortest time possible, it would go to me. So ultimately, I have a proven track record of that. And because of that, multi-state, multi-industry experience in the supply chain and operations discipline, it allows me to bring a diversity that a lot of my peers don't have by being in a singular company for a certain period of time. Ideally, I want longevity with the company as my long-term goal. But ultimately, it allows me to have that diversity, which is an asset, as well as I've developed the ability to speak all the different languages across the organization and all the stakeholders. So I have the ability to bring all of the disciplines together and communicate in a way that they all will understand it so that we can accomplish our common goal. And I started my career as a generalist. I have a BBA in business management. I have a master's in supply chain management. And even in my career work experience is the same way. And so really that allows me to be able to not only be able to manage something at 80,000 feet, it also allows me to be able to go all the way to the ground level and go as super micro as I need to do to accomplish something, which allows me to be a greater asset to an organization and be able to execute any of my responsibilities accordingly. And that's the major things that I like to say that sets me apart beyond. And it's also a really unique experience to have somebody that thinks of supply chain and operations as a scientist in your team. And so those are, the big reasons why an employer should hire me and that I bring to the table beyond those things.
Awesome. Karl, your time is up. You've gotten through this. You did fantastic. Folks, this is Karl. Here's how you get in touch with us to contact Karl and make that connection with him and bring him onto your team. Until next time, this is the 10-Minute Talent Take. Karl, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the 10-Minute Talent Take, presented by HR Kyle Services. To connect with today's featured candidate or to learn more about how HR Kyle Services can support your hiring and leadership needs, please call us directly at 330-541-5533. We look forward to helping you find the right talent and build stronger teams. This has been the 10-Minute Talent Take, where opportunity meets talent.